What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV. Y'all hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. And so I spent a lot of this morning while I was working. I was watching ESPN First Take, watching the FS1 Undisputed, and watching a host of other sports shows where they can finally address the Colorado meltdown versus Stanford on Friday night, right? And so I'm watching all the different shows and I'm watching the commentary around it, and a majority of the talking heads are blaming the kids, right? They're like, listen, they didn't execute properly, and rightfully so. They did not execute properly at all. Really didn't execute on defense, like none. Okay, and that's why they were able to lose a 29-point lead, it's unheard of in football, for real, right? And so they like, man, look, the narrative is that the kids are now smelling themselves. They've gotten too big for their britches. They're believing their own hype, etc. Right? And they like, man, listen, the kids, they think they're Coach Prime. That's the problem. And so they're placing majority of the blame on the kids. And while the kids are the athletes, so they have to produce, they should be blamed. They should be held accountable for sure. But I'm gonna say Coach Prime deserves majority of the blame for Colorado's loss to Stanford on Friday night. Now I know a lot of y'all gonna look at me with a side eye and think just because I've criticized Coach Prime about other things, I've criticized him for the way he left Jackson State, not because he left. I've criticized him for certain things he's done. Some of y'all gonna think it's coming off as me just hating. But think about this, man. People blaming the kids for getting too big for their britches and believing their own hype, or they blaming the kids for thinking that they're Coach Prime. Deion Sanders can't be left off the hook at all for his team's antics, because that is a culture that he's built in that locker room. The flashy, arrogant bravado is something that he's been okay with since the season has started. Seriously. And I've heard Shannon Sharpe say this on a consistent basis. Either you coach it or condone it. I remember when Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steelers, Antonio Brown acting a plumb fool, recording speeches in the locker room, acting out, showing his ass. Juju Smith-Schuster out here on TikTok, recording TikTok videos in the locker room and worrying about TikTok not playing up to production at times. Chase Claypool and them acting a fool. And everybody looking like, why do the Steelers players keep on acting up? And we had to look at the coach. We had to look at Mike Tomlin like, okay, what are you doing? What are you not doing? What are you not doing that they think they can just keep doing all type of outlandish stuff and it's okay? And they carrying on, and it's messing with team chemistry, etc. Right? They criticize Coach Mike Tomlin. So Deion Sanders should be criticized as well, because either he's coaching it or condoning it, and he has been condoning it. Make no mistake about it. His team is swimming in their own hype, and they've submerged themselves in it. Right? They submerged themselves in swagger rather than substance, and that's the problem. When you see this team and you see the defensive backs can't cover crossing routes, it's a problem going on, right? But I know Deion Sanders has been okay with the way they've been carrying it. When I say carrying it, I mean their bravado, their machismo, their antics, etc. He's been okay with it because, listen, they've been doing it every week. Every week it was something. You know what I mean? From I seen Shador poking the boy in the face through the helmet. They've been flashing jewelry, flashing watches. They've been talking crazy. Shiloh told the Oregon players before the Oregon game, I beat the fuck out of both of y'all and y'all coach, right? They've been talking crazy, talking noise, being flashy, and it's been continuing. They've been doing the same stuff the whole bravado, they've been keeping it all the way through and through. And that's how I know nothing is really, they not being chastised for it, because Coach Prime is okay with that, right? And I know he's condoning it. Let me just say this, I just thought of another thing. I know he's condoning it because before the game, Deion Sanders, head coach, Coach Prime, was joking about his son flashing a watch before the game. He was joking about Shador flashing his watch and was like, hey, he needed a sponsorship for that. He needed an endorsement for that. Prime was joking about it, because he's been okay with all the stuff that's been going on, right? And then after he talking about Shador need a endorsement, you got Shador's one of his social media pages promoting some merchandise on social media during the halftime. Right now, granted, they're up, but there's no way your starting quarterback, none of your players should be posting merchandise and stuff during the halftime, during the game while a game is going on. That's ridiculous, right? But that is a key sign that their team is not disciplined as a unit. That and all the penalties that they got during that game, that's a clear-cut sign they aren't disciplined enough, and that comes mainly from coaching from the top, right? See, the problem with a culture that is rooted in flash and arrogance is that there isn't much room for losing. Because when you lose, you're going to hear from the critics, you're going to hear from everybody, because especially when you have a meltdown like you just had last week. When you have a meltdown like that, people gonna talk about it. Y'all, they lost to a team, let my son in here, they lost to a team that's 1-4. A 1-4 team that only have 4 touchdowns going into Friday night. They lost to a Stanford team that lost to Sacramento State, for crying out loud, y'all. Colorado allowed them to come back from being 29 points down and had them looking like juggernauts. Had their receivers and quarterback looking like all pros. You know what I mean? And I'm looking at this. Deion, on the 60 Minutes interview, Deion, when they asked him who the best coach in college football, he said, "Do I need a mirror? Do I need to hand you a mirror? Where my mirror at?" Right? Basically saying you looking at him. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said. So if Deion is the best coach in America, you got to tone a lot of stuff that your players doing. Tone that down. All of them got jury iced out like, you know what I mean? This fake. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. I'm going to still rock it, right? But all of them got jury on, iced out, watches, all that, and out there getting mossed. Getting their ass broke off. I'm sorry, dog. All this jury and all this flash and all this pizzazz, you can't have this on the sideline. You out here getting burnt. You out here getting done in. You out here getting cooked, filleted, flambéed, sauteed. You out here getting broiled, deep grilled. Nah, bro. You ain't take the grill out your mouth because you ain't Prime. See, the thing is, Prime had that same type of flair and stuff like that, but it was substance with it. He was out there being a dog every single day. And Prime thinking that he can allow them to do that because he thinking they are of the same ilk as him, and they are proving that they are not. Okay? Majority of them, they are not. They are not cut from the same cloth as him, and he thinking that it's okay because he did it. No, bro, they not cut like that. They need to tone all of that stuff down, and Prime needs to also cut down the all the celebrities coming to the locker room and all of that, because it's clear that they can't handle that. They can't handle the press. Colorado been getting talked about like they were the #1 team in the country, and they didn't even crack the top 10. A lot of people watching college football didn't even know who the #1 team in the country is, because Colorado getting more press than the #1 team in the country. People don't even know who the top 5 was, because Colorado, the way they was talking about Colorado, they was #1 team in the country. The way they was talking about them, and them kids couldn't handle all of that. All of the fanfare, all of The Rock, Lil Wayne, The Baby, Cameron. You got Lou, what's my man name? Lou, I forgot the man name. What's the boy name? Lou Young. All them Desi Banks, all them coming in the locker room. You got, Mason them coming around, Shannon Sharp. They can't handle that. Okay, and he think that bravado, he allowing them to do that because he think that's gonna wake up the dog in them and they gonna come out and be animals. Look, they out there looking like chihuahuas on the field. Okay? And I'm gonna say this: the blame should go on Shannon, because while Stanford was making a comeback, Coach Prime didn't call one timeout in the second half of the game. I'm sitting there like he just standing there watching his team getting worked, getting mollywopped. He watching his team have a meltdown, and he not calling no timeout to galvanize the troops. He not calling a timeout to get them to regroup or none of that, right? He just standing there letting it all happen and letting it play out. I'm like, yo, call a timeout. At least let your team catch their breath. Let them get their wind under them, especially Travis Hunter, because Travis Hunter, dog tired. He been out for a month, and now he playing at home. And Denver, where the altitude is crazy, you know he tired. And Prime ain't calling no timeout at all. You know what I mean? Like, for real. Then I'm looking at the coaching outside of the TCU game. I haven't seen Prime make any significant adjustments at all. He hasn't made any significant adjustments in a football game outside of the TCU game. And so, when you got people on TV like, oh, it's the kids, he needs to get the dogs, them boys not playing. Yes, they need to play better. Yes, they have been subpar. Yes, they have been lackluster, right? But let's be for real. If any other coach blew a 29-0 lead at home to one of the worst teams in the Power 5 conferences, imagine what talking heads like Skip Bayless, Keyshawn Johnson, Shady McCoy, and all of them, imagine what they would be saying if there was another team that lost like that, another top team. They would give majority of the blame to the head coach and the coaching staff, especially when they keep having 12 men on the field penalties. 12 men on the field penalties. What is going on? That's coaching, man. It's not discipline. They're not a disciplined team, and it's on Prime because Prime been letting them get away with all type of foolishness for a long time. He been letting them carry it like that and carry it with that type of bravado, and they've been winning by the hair on their chinny chin chin. You hear me? They've been winning like I'm talking about by the skin of your teeth. Is that the damn quote or the saying? They've been winning. I'm talking about this. They've been winning by this much. And he's still letting them rock out, talk crazy, wear all the jewelry, come in like they wearing a signing bonus on their neck at the games. And I ain't saying kids shouldn't be iced out. If I had the money, I'd be iced out too with the real jewelry. Now, I still probably make it fake because who the hell would know? I don't care, right? But anyway, I like jewelry. I love it, right? But it shouldn't be worn on the sidelines, especially when you're not producing, especially when you out here when you looking crazy. Your team is out here looking like you goddamn mediocre or less than mediocre at times. Like it's no excuse for that, man. It's none. You know what I mean? But the talking heads, they're talking about all the fluff in the game. They talking about Travis Hunter, and they said all the same things I said. Coach Prime got to decide if he gonna play Travis Hunter on offense or defense. He cannot play both. Even Charles Woodson did not play as many snaps as Travis Hunter. And then them boys throwing the ball so much now, he getting exhausted, especially when he been out a month. And they in Denver. I mean, not Denver. I said Denver. They're in Colorado. They're in Boulder. They're in Boulder, Colorado playing. In Colorado, the altitude crazy. He getting spent. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, he gonna have to get them together. They say all the players getting too big for their britches. They feeling themselves. They smelling themselves. Coach Prime didn't allow that. He's allowed that. He's encouraged that. You know what I mean? He's encouraged it in all of them. And now they all carrying it like they just the best team in America, like they won a Super Bowl. And the team I promise y'all, the last few weeks, they've been an average for the most part. In this last game, they were atrocious. You know what I mean? So he allowing them to carry it like they goddamn the Dallas Cowboys in the mid-90s. He allowing them to carry it like they're the 85 Bears, and they not living up to, for the first couple of games, it was nice. But then I started seeing the holes in everything. I started seeing the fact that Shiloh can't tackle well at all. He can't really tackle that well, and he misses tackles a lot. The defensive backs in general miss tackles a lot. They couldn't run the ball. The offensive line is not that good. They couldn't really put pressure on the quarterback. I saw all of those things to start the season, right? And my son here, he wants some of this food. But anyway, yeah, and so a lot of this should be on Coach Prime. And I'm not saying that because I criticized him or I'm hating. I'm being for real. Either you coach it or condone it. Your team carrying it like that. They ain't living up. They not playing up to standard. They keep acting like this every week. Cocky bravado. They barely winning. And they have a meltdown. You condoning the foolishness. He got to rein them in.